Morning and welcome to Beautiful Mind today. I'm Roland Attenborough and thank you for having me as a guest. Today we're going to be talking about Bitcoin and the square of 9 and where we can see prices vibrate, our timing events, and a few price levels, percentages. So let's just take a look at this. First of all, we're going to start off with our indicators. The RSI has been looking on the daily chart for a bottom for some time here. We've been doing this for just over 70 days here in our counts, and looking at that here, time has squared out for a top. We've been 70 days from a top, so it's about time for us to have some reactions. And it's saying that price and time is starting to square out. We've been staying above as well, not only squaring out this top here. Okay, now I took it from here. We could go back one more day here and this top would be 70. Okay, so that's, in my mind, squared out. It's mathematically balanced. However, we also have another live count, and that is this 55, 56, and 57 level here, right? This level right here. So this count here is next, and as you know, we were talking about these counts here. If we, just let me get that on there. Oh, it doesn't want to give us a counter. All right, so 55, 56 days, we were talking about these bottoms coming in. And keep in mind this says 57, but I was one day sooner on this thing. So mathematically we've balanced out and we've squared out our position. And as you guys can see, look, we've moved right here from this area of the chart here where we met resistance. And and I should be really soon putting a yellow mark here indicating the top. The pinks are the hot bottoms here. Those this is tuned to Bitcoin. You can tune this thing to anything you want. I've just got it tuned to Bitcoin because it's the most successful asset. We made 73. Our next move back 180 degrees from that would take us right down to the 57, 56, and 55, and 58 level. And that is precisely and exactly what we did. So these two things are tied together and are vibrating. And our halfway point is 65. We've been talking about this area here, that the energy of the market has been staying right in this area here. This is the halfway point, or the 50% level. And our square absolutely approves and states this. Looking at that now, I've put on an angle here, and we're going to put that at a 45-degree angle, and we're going to start cutting through this. But before we carry on, we've been looking for a bottom in this RSI, and it looks like it's still searching out a bottom. It's getting pretty, we're getting pretty close to some major activity. One way or the other, we're either going to be retesting, or moving above in a very rapid succession in the coming weeks and days. Looking here, we have the MACD. It's crossed over here and is showing a death cross and is desperately looking to make a bottom here. And note that we are making another area here with our MACD. So this area is an area where we could see a turnaround somewhere in here. And I was also discussing several days ago that I wanted to see a little bit of this selling pressure pick up and get rid of all of this so that accumulation and distribution would be fully apparent. And when this stuff turns green and the buyers step back in and the sellers exit the door, it's very likely and possible we will not only be retesting this top, but we will be jumping above it. Should we experience a refusal to break over this top, would just bring us back to these areas, and we were talking about this in previous tutorials. Stochastics, you know, I've gone on about this as a leading and lagging indicator, and it is, in my mind, it just continues to go sideways. However, the MACD, it is a better indicator, as it seems to capture the waves when we have these crosses here better than the stochastic. The stochastic gets a little flat here, and it can be a little leading and lagging. So, however, it is searching out a bottom right now and is coming back to an area where it has vibrated, and we've seen a lot of price activity and changes in trend in this area. So looking at that, bottoming here would be a very good sign. Same with this indicator, and the same here with this indicator. Breaking above this would be a resumption of the bull market. So, sorry, I didn't mean to step on your tail. Sorry, that was my cat. It's laying underneath my feet. Okay, so now indicators are basically done. Let's go take a look at the chart, and let's just make some determinations about what we can see moving forward. So, as you know, we have 45-degree angles. On this chart, it's naked, obviously, but we're going to bring up our angles, and we're going to re-replicate what it is that we're looking for, because we're looking for balanced sequences, and I was showing you how to do this in a previous tutorials. So let's go ahead and let's just extend this. So here we are. I like to square these out with as many data points and square it out with the top here. Before it tells us a lot of things. Here's our second top. Now I know that this is saying 38. While we have this price bar elevated like that, we'll just set it to a 45, all right? This is our 45-degree angle. It cuts through the most data points. We had our first sine wave here telling us that failing to break below this is showing us that the trend is getting strong, and you better go with it. And that is exactly and precisely what happened. And now the data points have been connected, and now you can see here that we have a vibration of the asset. And when the vibration of this asset refused to break over, the square overcame time, and we produced a lower top around this area. And we've been talking about this area for a lot of energy and contention. So, looking at that, let's just take a few more of these, and we can look at some more determinations. So taking our vibration forward now, we have now put on our second sequence of 45-degree angles, and we will therefore be finding the vibration of when it will fall off this, because we know that it's constantly searching out a vibration and wants to come back to the gravity center. So we're going to go ahead as well, and we're going to put on a couple of downward angles and change them to as well a different color. So let's just do that first. That way we can make some determinations and know which angle we're talking about. Sorry if you can hear the cat snoring. Okay, so we're going to match our 45-degree angles. Let's do that. Okay. The market wants to find gravity center, and we were discussing that the asset always is looking for that, and our halfway point is 65 between, right, our 73 and our 57. These two data points that we have a 45-degree angle on, right here, cuts right through, cuts right through. Here's our, this is our square, guys. It's right here. And what happened? Well, we made a lower top when this angle squared out right around our 65 area. We ran this squaring of this sequence out, and it found a higher bottom. That's very interesting. It did not violate our bottom here. And by the way, looking at percentage levels, we've been talking about those. All of our percentage levels of pullbacks in all my tutorials showing you for the last year have all been this 20 and 21 and 22%, okay? And it's ranged up to 23. We've had a really close one. I believe this last one, you know, looking at our percentage level here, you know, totally, we've been back a total of 23%, and we have not violated this pullback right here, even though it is 2% more than our previous percentage levels. It still did not overbalance or overshadow, in my opinion, and that's because this bottom has not been violated. So yeah, we've had, and now we're down to 1 day for a 20% reaction. They were before, this was our next one, which was 12. The others have been 62, and I've been talking to you about 62-day counts over and over and over, and we've been using them and finding where it's possible and likely we can see as well another change in trend, like a bottom typically is what I've been stating. And sure enough, you know, in this 61, 62-day count that we've had in our previous campaigns, we are sticking around the bulk of this area and sitting on, that's right, a 45-degree angle. So the asset is wishing to stay inside of these areas, and we have all these counts that are mathematically working out and balancing. Let's go ahead and let's produce another 45-degree angle, and we can put on some finer angles as we go as well, like a 1 times 2 or a 2 times 1 angle, depending on if we're going from the bottom or the top. All right, discussing the same thing in the 45-degree angle that we experienced here, we are going to do the same here. The energy of this 45-degree angle cuts through our data points. Losing this angle would show weakness, and we would be returning to a 2 times 1 angle down here, as we've been stating in our previous tutorials, by moving them up to this area right on this angle and bottom. We would do that, and I have done that for you. This is an energy point here crossing This 45-degree angle here is a gravity center between this top and this bottom now. A continuous breakdown of this angle and violations of these swing bottoms would continue and bring us down, and we would need a 2 times 1 angle running down to help us intersect with a 1 times 2 angle here, if that were to occur. So we've been looking at those scenarios. Let's go ahead and let's just recover that again and talk about that, because right now the market is still looking for a bottom and getting rid of this energy that has been persisting for accumulation and distribution. So let's just go put this on here, and then we'll make an adjustment. First, we're going to double check 45. We're going to go to a 2 times 1 or a 1 times 2 angle. So we would naturally need 22. What do you know? It's already dang well there. Sometimes you get lucky with that. So looking at that, the furthest down this asset could fall given our present position, and breaking below this would indicate a move back to these lower areas, and that would coincide with our 1 times 2 angle right here, and that would be our 60,000 level. And as you know, that is another 45-degree angle or point that vibrates on our square of 9. Pay attention to that. Moving our 1 times 2 angle up, and we lock it right onto our low, exactly on our 45-degree angle. The next most highest probability, if we were to break below and violate these bottoms, we would be moving down, and we would be looking for something around this 63, 64 area. Might even take as long as this and reach our 65. And we've been talking about this. This vibrates right here. It's a halfway point, and it's on a 45-degree angle. So the asset has wanted to stay here, and it crossed over here and retouched this on 2 45-degree angles. So looking at what we're talking about here, if this asset was to stay above this area, it is in a strong position as long as it does not violate these lows. In a bull market, we are always looking for the first sign that it breaks the last tops, and we know when it makes these higher highs and higher lows that the asset is in a stronger position. When it fails to break above these, it resets, just like we've been going through here. We failed to break above these on these reactions from our 45-degree angle, so we had to further seek out an area where it was comfortable, and that didn't occur until we squared out this bottom. It a little bit overshadowed it, but you get the point. This is where it was, right? And squaring out this lower top. So we have a vibrating area here with crossings of our very strongest angles. Okay, now we've discussed weakness. Now let's go talk about what we could experience should this asset continue to impress upon us that it is in a strong position. What would we do? Well, we would take naturally some of our lower angles, and we would start to look for an area where we could see a cross And I've been discussing with you that from 73,000, our all-time high right now, can't dispute that, that the next move up on the square of 9, as I've been discussing, is 77. And this 45-degree angle just happens to intercept this 1 times 2 extension angle from our old tops here. So continuously moving up in a positive direction here and making higher lows, staying above this. If we were to do so, the next point for us to see is 77. That would indicate we're starting to get up. If we were to show weakness and break below 55, that would be catastrophic, and we would be moving back down, and we would most likely be sitting on 46. And this is a very, and I'm sorry I'm back to that, the bearish side, but guys, you have to face facts, guys. Like 46, yeah, like back to what? Violating this old top right here, sitting on this, right? So that would be catastrophic. Back to what we can see next. So we have a 1 times 2 angle. That's our trajectory for a low and slow moving move above. What would it look like if the energy was twice as strong? Well, let's go take a look. Where would our energy be if we were to put a 45-degree angle on there and see exactly where it may take us in the next days, weeks, and possibly months? Let's just line it up exactly on that angle. Now we have an interceptum. Sorry, my tongue got tied there. Interception of 3 angles. This is a projection. I've showed you a bunch of GANN charts where we draw these angles, and this is now a 90-degree angle from this 45-degree angle, right? 2 45s make 90 degrees. This is an extension line that is equal to our 45-degree angle here in parallel. What can we see moving up? Well, in the coming months and days here, I've been speaking about the fact, I'm going to scrunch this chart down a little bit. It's going to change the angles up and whatnot, but these are still a 45-degree angle, regardless if it says 38. Let's just go activate it now that we've scrunched it down. Let's make it a 45 so that we don't get confused about what we're talking about. Our next tops are coming in this July here, and they will come around the 12th, and I expect we could be, you betcha, up at around 91,000. 55 is right here. 91 is right here. We've had a series of bottoms at 55, 56, 57, 58. We cannot dispute that. So, one whole sine, wave, and move around would take us to 91. It is possible and likely this July we could be experiencing a first series of our blow-off. We were talking about this in a previous tutorial. I'm just going to bring this up. After we get into June, Jupiter sits down on 6, degrees. We have our last low and a big move up. Into July, when Jupiter makes it to the 11th degree, we always have a crazy blow off. Now it doesn't have to be to 100 grand or all this, but somewhere on this square here, anywhere on this square where these red lines are, right? These are the 8 octaves of the year. If you're a musician, you'll understand that greatly, right? Okay. So, with that in mind, 73 is opposite 91. And 55 squares out with 91 in a full circle as a cycle and would bring us back to square one, or square out our position. This is possible and likely. It could unfold like this. Looking at the market, we would need to stay above these angles in order to achieve the results of these mathematical angles. Definitely. Let's take this 1 times 2 now angle and let's just put it on a forecasted previous top and see where we could be. Looking at this, these two cross a potential 85 and 86. All right, let's go take a look at the square again. That is right here, and this coincides perfectly 180 degrees with our 70, our old 40s and our bottoms, a bunch of our tops and bottoms, and it's on a 45-degree angle. So it is possible that that is another next phase up from 77. 90 degrees would bring us up to 86. Let's move this now to the all-time high now, and let's zero in on what it would say to us. This is saying 22. Let's bring it out. It's 22. Let's just bring this up. It's our 45. These two cross approximately July 17th at 93,000. 93,000 is right here. So the bulk of the energy inside of this would be 91. Do you think that it is possible and likely we could have a push up and touch this? Yeah, certainly, absolutely. If we were to gain significant strength and sit on our old top here, this area would likely vibrate with some type of topping sequence in it. And as I've been discussing with you, this July period, right? Well, we're back to this again. Zeus, or Jupiter, the planet of expansion and abundance, will be at 11 degrees. And that will occur around the 15th here. And sorry, I'm shaking that around. I can't actually see what you're seeing right here on the screen, so I'm sorry if it's not 100% in there. Vimeo has changed my platform and I'm no longer able to make the square move inside the platform window and expand it and can make it compressed like I did before in previous tutorials. So if you're wondering why that hasn't happened, it's not my decision. Vimeo has changed their platform viewpoints, so I was unable to control that variable. Back to the chart. We're looking for the evidence of strength to return, or the evidence that weakness is going to push in and take over, and we would see some more, right, basing. where would we see our next basings from, given that we have these counts? Well, we've been discussing that, and that would be 55 was our, 55, right? So that's June 25th. So somewhere around this 55, 56, 57, and 58. Going back to the ephemeris, June, I expect that, sorry, I'm shaking that around, that Jupiter, Zeus, will be back at 6 degrees. And from my research and my work that I do, I've identified areas in time, and time is more important than price, and Mr. Gann states this over and over again. When time is up, fast moves happen. 12 years ago, an incredibly fast move started to take place, and it went on for a period of nearly 1 year. So, looking at our past results, the past is but a repetition of the future. All stock brokerages and all that, they first tell you that past performance is not indicative of future performance, and I call bullshit on that, because I went to go write my stock certificate and I refused to sign a non-disclosure agreement, which meaning that I wouldn't be able to tell you the truth, and I'd be selling you a bunch of junk, AAA junk bonds and crap, and we would sell against your position, short you, and take your money. That's why they're called brokers. So I never did get my brokerage license to sell you crappy assets, because I'm about full disclosure, and I couldn't do that. So I am doing it on my own now, and I'm much more happier. So I hope you really enjoyed this presentation regarding what was happening with the potential moves in Bitcoin. We've given you a few scenarios, and we can also, don't forget, we don't have to bottom here, but sideways, we could go sideways for 55 days, 58 days, and not to forget, right, remember guys, our 70 count, remember, we're just going to go from right here, we could go out 70 days, and not to forget our 62 first. So we'll go take a look at that. And what about 55 days from our top? I mean, there's July 15th. I'm calling for a top. You damn right. We're going to see something. I know it. Let's go take a look at 62. Well, 62 days, we'd start to be looking for a bottom again. And I told you around July 20th on this ephemeris that we're going to have a snapback, and then from there things are going to get really savage, and I mean that. Looking now further forward, here is our 70th day. So by the 24th of July, as I have shown you, returning back, the 24th, we will have a major snapback like we have had in the past when Zeus, Jupiter, crossed the 13th degree. It had an amazing snap bottom, and from there a really rapid and fast move moved up. So there we go. And when is it going to subside, our first one? When these two old friends right here, when they get together, we will have another first major blow-off. Other than our first major blow-off. This is going to be our second one, but this first one here is going to take you by surprise. So pay attention to that, okay guys? Also, I'm just going to put this up here. I can't fully tell whether or not you can see the whole page, but I want you to pause this if you can and read that. I'm not going to read it all to you because it's going to take too long right now, and wanting you to just take this in at your own rather than listening to me waffle on about this. All right. Oh, by the way, this is from How to Make Profits in Commodities, and this is the book here. And I purchased all this stuff 25 years ago. I have all his books and courses, plus many other courses from other people that were teaching about GANN back then. I've spent over $22,000 in 1998 when I started. Here is Mr. GANN when he's finished reading this book, and this is a really impressive man. Mr. GANN was the leader, as far as I am concerned, in mathematical sciences. All right. Peace and love, guys. Pay attention that we have these live counts, and that, we're waiting for the strength or the weakness to return. And right now, we're still looking like we're in a pretty good, strong position. However, we can still go down, and I'm still bullish. That's right. When am I buying next? Right? When it breaks above its old top and sits on it. That is when the asset is in the strongest position and the safest place to buy, and with a stop loss somewhere underneath this nonsense. I would say a stop loss under 65 here. This is our gravity center here. If we were to keep a stop loss underneath that, which is exactly what I will be doing, so if the market is going to be looking for my stop on my next purchase, it'll be somewhere around under here, because this area is littered with stops. Might even keep it lower, because I want to see, we can't violate this area. We cannot lose 55. We can't lose this area. Otherwise, it's just moving back down. And we will be looking at other areas, 53, 50, back to 46, squaring out the position at 43. I mean, that would just like destroy you. Right? And this strong money out there, this BlackRock and all this, they're looking for it. They are constantly looking for your stop. Constantly. And if you're late to the party and this takes off, they've taken you out now, because you bought when it was starting to move up and it got sideways here. That's right. And you were just jumping for joy, and they took you out. Pay attention to this 45-degree angle, guys. It's super duper important. It's really important, These angles, they're so important. They're so important. You guys, pay attention to this stuff. This is really important where all this stuff crosses, so pay attention to it. Right? Let's just pay attention to this. This is how we find these areas. When we stay above this, it's strength. When we violate this angle, it's weakness. All right, guys. Peace and love. And hit me up in the comments. I have a lot of really great comments. And thank you for having me as a guest today. Really appreciate it. Really grateful. Peace and love. 1-1.